Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. It's Julie Roginski. I'm here with Michelle Kinney. Tara Setmayer is on her way. She's just getting a cup of coffee. And Joe, as we know, is at yet another soccer game with her daughter. Good luck to Joe's daughter on that one. And happy Saturday, everybody. I see the chat is lighting up already, which makes me so happy. You guys seem to have a whole separate life going on outside the show in our chat, which I love. Michelle is just working on a few elements for the show, but she'll be talking soon. So I'll just talk. This has been a really long week. Yes, Michelle.
Well, I'm doing this. You know what I'm going to do? Since I messed up this morning, I'm going to play the actual Over It intro because I had this wrong thing on it. Let me do that quick.
Okay.
Yeah, see, it feels more.
Now it's official. Now it's official.
So I think sorry, I didn't hear you, but you said Tara's on her way, right?
Tara's on her way.
Okay,
Jojo is at a soccer game with her daughter. It's soccer season, which I know full well. My soccer season is during the week, but you guys, first of all, there are elections coming up. Before we even get to like the other stuff, there are really important elections happening in 4 states that I want to point out. Everybody thinks it's just 3, but it's actually 4. The first, I'm going to go in chronological order. There's Tara Setmayer.
Oh, hello. Good morning.
Hey. Hello. It's been a morning.
Yeah, exactly.
That it has.
We were just talking, Tara, about the 4 really important elections that are coming up on Tuesday, and I saw that you voted.
Oh, yes.
So go ahead, talk about Virginia, because that's where you are.
Oh, yes. I early voted. Virginia is one of the states that has a really robust early voting program. Excuse me. It started September 19th. So you have like a month and a half to vote. And it was really encouraging. And I forgot to say this in my my video when I posted it yesterday, but the election workers there, first of all, the election site was pretty busy for, a random Friday. And the night's election lady was like, it is so busy today. Like it has been so busy this week. Yeah. She goes, she's like, just bear with me for a second. I'm like, busy is good.
Is it good? I mean, that's good, right? I mean,
yes. Oh no, that's great. That's great. And you know how they sometimes they have the folks that stand outside, they hand you like a sample ballot. They're like, here, would you like a sample ballot? And sometimes the Republicans have theirs, the Democrats have theirs. I can tell you that there was no Republican presence with folks at this polling location, which is one of the bigger ones in the county I live in. It's near the courthouse, so I was surprised. Only Democrats, but they papered the whole area with the signs and all of that. There are a lot of Ian Lovejoy, the Republican delegate here, but I think Elizabeth Guzman's going to beat him. But anyway, and so there was no Republican presence, which was interesting. I guess they feel like they'll do it on election day, for the day ofs, because most Democrats take advantage of the early voting. But it was funny because sometimes I'd like to just sit and watch who's coming and who's going, who takes the the sample ballots and who doesn't. And I can almost predict who says no and who doesn't. So like, I don't know, the white dude by himself, like, who's like, no, thank you. And was like scurrying into I'm like, yeah, okay, we know who you're voting for. Meanwhile, there were like, for every one of those guys, there were, I don't know, I'd say 5 Democrats. And I could see in like the little receptacle there, people who threw theirs away, and it was just like piled up with blue sample ballots. So,
oh wow.
I mean, I live in Northern Virginia, so this should be an easy win for Spanberger. But I don't know what's going to happen with the Attorney General's race. Like that is a whole thing.
That's a really important race.
And it's so hugely important. And I'm like, I really, 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 really struggled what to do there. I struggled what to do because I'm like, what are we going to do here with this guy? And the Republican Governors Association infused like $6.5 million since September. That is, for people who don't know, Julie, you appreciate this because you run, campaigns, you get this. $6.5 million for an AG race in the final month is nuts. Like, That's a nutso amount of money to infuse, but it's because of the controversial texts and everything. And it's very rare that an AG race would either lift your sagging top of the ticket or drag down the top of the ticket. It's given a shot in the arm to the Winsome Sears campaign, which is crazy because she is an absolute cuckoo bird and is a crazy person. But it helped them close the gap a little bit. And they were able to put out some really tough ads against Abigail Spanberger. I don't think she's going to lose.
How were they? Like what was the angle?
Abigail Spanberger is not a great debater. And when they had the debate, the Jay Jones text thing came out, and it was difficult for her election for her campaign to they didn't come right away and like say he should step aside or whatever. So there's a really, this one I think is effective. If you weren't paying attention and now you were in the final month, she was asked the question. Winsome Sears directly asks her, like, how do you feel about him threatening to kill or threatening that his opponent's kid should die or whatever it was. And she just stands there at the podium, silent, staring off into space.
She wasn't prepped for this?
Apparently not.
Or if she was, she froze.
Was prepped. Well, no, she was prepped, and it was prepped, I guess, to not say anything. And so
oh my God.
No.
And like stares off. Now, I'm assuming that I didn't see the whole debate. So I'm assuming that she must have answered it at some point and left it at that. So then when Winsome Sears asked her again, you see her like clutching the freaking lectern for dear life, just kind of staring off very strangely. Like, and then she goes, I'm like, oh my God, this looks so bad for you. So that was the kind of, if you're looking at that and you're going, I don't know.
Would you package that into a negative ad against her, Tara? Because I would.
I mean, they should have, but
yeah,
they didn't. And so, it was, but anyway, but I feel good about Virginia. I do.
Okay.
And I think we're going to be okay in Virginia because again, Donald Trump, the proximity to Virginia and Washington, D.C. and everything that happens in Washington really impacts Virginia. I mean, 285,000 civilian federal workers live in Virginia and tens of thousands of others in the military. And the amount of contractors and government workers and military families suffering, like there's no way to ignore what's happening here. So the people of Virginia, I don't think are going to pick someone who's going to further Trump's agenda. So I think and plus she's a cuckoo, like nuts. So I think we'll be okay here. But the attorney general's race is what I'm worried about because the AG has a lot of power in the state and can make life very difficult for the governor if, in fact, the Republican wins re-election. So that's the part, especially since elections matter and we know that they're coming for them and all these other things that are going on. Who the top lawyer is in the state is really going to matter. So we'll see. New Jersey is a whole nother situation. I don't know. I'm worried, Julie.
Well, so New Jersey, I can give you some good news and I can give you some news to think about. The good news is that the early vote has been coming in very strongly for Mikey Sherrill, who's a Democratic candidate running against Jack Ciattarelli. Hudson County, which is a Democratic county in the state. It's the state adjacent to New York, right across the Hudson River. It includes places like Jersey City and Hoboken, if people have heard of those towns. The early vote there is very strong, surprisingly, because their turnout is not so great. What is concerning is that the early vote in places like Jersey City is very strong. They also have a mayor's race that's very, very heated there, which is ginning up turnout. What is concerning is that there are the mayor's race has some. So you guys remember Jim McGreevey, the former governor?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So Jim McGreevy's running for mayor of Jersey City. And Jim McGreevy's running for mayor of Jersey City. And among the cohort that he appeals to is this white, ethnic, Irish, Italian, pro-cop vote. And in Jersey City,
I didn't know he was back in politics.
Oh, he's an addict. He can't stop. He might win. There are signs that say McGreevey Ciattarelli with a thin blue line. So the turnout is so interesting because McGreevy's obviously Democrat and a very strong Democrat. But there is, What I am concerned about with the early vote is twofold. And Hudson's a very good example of that. Hudson has a bunch of yuppies, kind of people who, people, it's basically the sixth borough of Manhattan, right? And parts of Jersey City and Hoboken. It also has an incredibly strong Latino community, which went very heavily for Trump last year.
Yeah.
And my concern is, are those people turning out early, and who are they turning out for? Like, have Latinos decided that they took a chance on Trump, it didn't work out, or are they forever lost the Democratic Party? I don't know the answer to that. That is something very much we have to keep an eye on in this election.
Where are they putting the election monitors, which we all know
that's
is
a great
voter
question,
suppression
Yeah,
tactic?
so they're putting the election monitors in Passaic County. Passaic County,
okay,
Hispanic, which is interesting, but
Yep.
also in the city of Patterson, which is the biggest city in Passaic County. Not just Latino, very strong Palestinian population.
Yes.
Not just
Yes.
Arab, but Palestinian.
Yes, we used to go to a flower market over there. There's like a flea market, flower market over there, and also get unbelievably good sugar cane. Oh my gosh, I love sugar cane. And there was in that market, and there was a very heavy Palestinian presence in that community. Went to go over there in Patterson. Used to, yeah. Yep. Know it well. And by the way, I don't know if you saw this. There's a Charlie Kirk mural in Patterson. So I follow this Instagram account called Jersey Talks, and it's usually pretty, like, it wasn't, and then it did become kind of Trumpy, but I miss Jersey. Actually, I'm wearing my
kind of like local gossip.
I'm wearing my Jersey t-shirt today. So I watch it just like to see things from Jersey. But anyway, so some guy was like, yo, son. He's like, there's a Charlie Kirk mural in Patterson. He's like,
yeah.
He's like, is this really the best place for this? Let's see how long this thing lasts. I was like, oh my God.
So yeah. So here's the thing. So Patterson has a mayor named Andre Sayegh, who is a Syrian, I believe he's a Syrian Christian, but they have a very strong, as I said, Patterson is, I don't know what the demographics breakdown is, but it's African-American, it's Latino.
Yeah.
And it's also very Muslim, and specifically Palestinian. So keep an eye on that, because they put the election monitors there. Look, Jack Ciattarelli should win. Like, just if Donald Trump were not a factor, Jack Ciattarelli would win. Not because Mike Cheryl's a bad candidate. She's not. Not because he's a great candidate, although he's a very good candidate in the way he's been running his campaign.
Yeah.
But because Democrats have been in charge in New Jersey for the last 8 years, and people want to change, and that typically happens. Trump changes everything. So I would just caution people that if she wins this year, she will have broken precedent, and it's because of Donald Trump. If she loses, and I'm not saying this because I'm trying to be Pollyannish or spin anybody. As you guys know, I always tell the truth here. Hopefully everywhere else, but specifically here, I'm not going to bullshit anybody. If she loses, it is not a harbinger of things to come next year. It is simply that New Jersey voters are very overtaxed in their mind. The affordability crisis is out of control. And it's a question of who they blame. Do they blame the Democrats in Trenton, or do they blame Donald Trump for it? Now, I don't know the answer to that. We will find out on Tuesday. I will say what Ciattarelli is doing is an interesting experiment. And if you put aside your kind of our predilection for obviously wanting Democrats to win and just analyze this as analysts, it's very interesting. This is a guy who started out as a moderate, and I know him, and in his heart, he's not MAGA. But what he has done, it doesn't matter what's in his heart. Obviously he's leaning very strongly into MAGA. Everybody thought that after the primary, he would move to the center, but he's not. He doubled down big time on MAGA. He brought in all of these MAGA figures. I seriously believe that if Charlie Kirk were still alive, he'd be doing rallies in New Jersey.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean,
he sent his buddy Jack Posobiec, for fuck's sake, did a rally in New Jersey. The Comet Pizza guy.
Oh my God, Jack, and like Jack.
Yeah,
Jack Posobiec is like a legit white nationalist, like
awful
Yahtzee,
awful,
right?
awful.
Like legitimately.
But what Chitterelli's doing, which I think is also fascinating from just an analysis perspective, and we'll find out on Tuesday whether it worked, is that he's trying to get those voters who are just Trump voters, who love Donald Trump, but don't turn out for anybody else.
Yeah.
To turn out.
It's tough.
And
that's a tough thing
to
accomplish
but he
in
has
an
to.
off year.
He has to, because there are 800,000 more Democrats than Republicans in New Jersey. So he has to get a chunk of those Democrats who are pissed off at Trenton because of taxes. He has to get a chunk of, he has to get all the independents out there. And he has to get those crazy MAGA guys who don't typically turn out to turn out for him. And it's a really tall task. But that's how, Chris Christie won.
You know what, though, Julie? This is why, and Michelle and I talk about this all the time about the work we do at Seneca with our ads. If we had the money and Democrats understood the value of narrative setting and negative partisanship and investing in that long-term kind of hearts and minds, soft power, like the intel community does, because politics is very much like that asymmetrical warfare part of the comms thing. If I were the Cheryl campaign, I would have taken a chunk of money and gave it to one of the super PACs or C4s to run ads in these Trumpy districts in New Jersey about how Donald Trump is fucking them. You are angry because you don't have your farmland down in South Jersey. Your crops are impacted by Trump's tariffs. Your kids aren't getting their health care because of Trump's shutdown or whatever. Right. And remind them, hey, listen, we know we know that you believe Mr. Trump, but this is but believe his actions. This is what he's done to you. Yeah. Like our big, beautiful betrayal, ad.
Well, they are done
that.
They are, well, listen, they are doing that in the sense that
in a legit way.
She is running against Trump nonstop. I will say,
no, but I mean targeting his voters without her face, just talking to them, injecting into their brains, planting the seed.
It's like subliminal,
Marjorie Taylor Greene's face.
What she is doing is running a very 1990s campaign. And if
I know, so is Spamberger. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah,
I was around for those kinds of campaigns.
And if you look at what Zohran Mamdani, and again, I'm putting aside views of the specific candidates, what you think about them. It's the distinction, especially for those of us who live in the New York media market, between what we see on TV with Zohran Mamdani and what we see on TV with Mikey Sherrill, because they're all running in the same media market, even though they're two different races. It's like going from a rotary phone to an iPhone.
Yes.
It's like going from, I remember the first time, I hate to invoke the evil Tesla, but I remember the first time I drove a Tesla, which must have been about 15 years ago, like the first iteration of the Tesla. And I remember just somebody had it, just taking it out for a drive and saying, holy shit, this is not even the same product as any other car I've ever driven. And, Susan said, you worry about Ocean County. You should worry about Ocean County, because in Ocean County, I mean, God, if you guys want me to
down the shore.
In Ocean County, the most Republican county in the state, the biggest Republican county in the state, but also they have a humongous, and I mean a humongous Orthodox Jewish community, like Hasidic Jewish community.
Yes.
And they're called the VOD. And for the first time in history, the VOD and all the other Orthodox Jewish councils teamed up together to endorse Jack Ciattarelli. Not a surprise. These people don't even shake hands with women, so it's not a shock to me that they would endorse a man. And also, they're all about busing for their private schools. Like it's totally corrupt deal.
Didn't a rabbi get caught down there for welfare fraud? Wasn't a couple of years ago? Do you remember this?
Oh, Tara, that rabbi got indicted, and then the attorney general almost got impeached because that indictment was complete bullshit.
What?
I didn't know the part two of that.
New Jersey, who is awful, although he's a Phil Murphy appointee, has been
wow.
going on an indictment. They have been indicting people left and right, and the judges keep throwing it out because these indictments are so politically motivated and such bullshit. So,
wow.
That rabbi went through hell.
Wow.
Through hell. And it cost, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars in legal fees for that guy.
Wow.
Because this attorney general is dipshit.
Well, That could
Yeah.
also be another motivation for why they band together
Oh,
and support
100%.
each other early because of the
Yeah.
what they considered political prosecution.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Ocean County, that's where I go down the shore, Seaside Park, and where I have to, endure the, fuck Joe Biden flags and the Trump
Yeah.
flags and stuff that fly, unfortunately, in a lot of places down the shore. And I'm like, oh my God. The
Yeah.
owner of like one of the there's a restaurant that we did not go to for years as much as we wanted to because we thought they were pro-Trump because they had a Trump 2020 sign on the fence in their parking lot. We didn't go there for years until we met these wonderful people down there who were actually, the wife was a huge fan of mine for years and didn't know, saw me singing karaoke at one of the places and was like, is that Tara? Is that Mary singing karaoke? And then she talked to me and I said, yes, I am. And then she's like, oh my gosh, I've been following you for years since CNN and you helped me stay sane through all of this. We were Republicans and Trump, blah, blah, blah. We've become dear, dear friends. Shout out to the Whalens. And they were like, let's go to dinner. We can go to Ebby's. And we're like, we are not going there because that's the place that has that stupid Trump sign. And they're like, no, we know.
Oh, yeah.
It's not their sign. It's the neighbors and it's their fence.
Oh,
And
no.
they refuse to take it
so
down.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. And I was like, no way. So yeah. And then actually we befriended the owner, Tina, and all them. And we're all buddies now. But like, that's what we were so disgusted by the open, pro-Trump, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, we were like, no, but turned out that they were actually not. So, but anyway, but that area down there.
That's so unfortunate because think about how many people probably aren't going for that reason.
Maybe not, because to Julie's point, that part of Jersey is a little redder than others. So maybe not, but regardless, I'm glad that we were able to eat there and their food is fantastic and we go now every year.
Yeah. So it's just, so I don't know. I mean, New Jersey is an interesting one. Cheryl should win because of Trump, but we'll see. And then moving on to California, Prop 50. If you live in California, you have
right.
Go out there and vote for Prop 50. Don't listen to Arnold Schwarzenegger sitting in his Brentwood house or wherever the hell he is in LA, and he's going to be just fine. But the rest of us are not. California, we are counting on you because as Ohio just voted to add 2 more Republican districts to their map. North Carolina's adding 1 more. We know what happened in Texas. Florida's next. They're trying to rig the election. And hopefully Virginia, Tara's state, is going to do the same next year.
And New York.
New York is going to do the same. New Jersey, get off your asses. You need to add 1 more seat in the 7th congressional district. You can make it more Democratic. You can. I can draw that map for you in my sleep.
Because Jersey lost a seat in the last census, right? Or was it 2
Jersey lost a seat, but what Jersey also did was screw our good friend Tom Malinowski out of his congressional seat.
Right.
Carol's seat more Democratic. There was no excuse for that. She would have won in her old seat. Malinowski would have won in his seat. No excuse. They need to make the 7th more Democratic. You can go ahead and make the rest of the Republican districts more Republican. Give them it's doable. All right. And then we get to Pennsylvania, which nobody talks about. You guys, there is
I do.
Oh, you do, but I'm talking about like the mainstream media and anybody outside Pennsylvania. There is a super, super important race in Pennsylvania for Supreme Court justices. Please vote Democrat. That is a really, really, really under the radar race. The Republicans are all in on flipping those Supreme Court seats. And if they
3
do,
seats, right?
I think it's 3 or 4. Yeah. And if they do, they're going to be able to redraw the map. They're going to be able to say that anytime a Democrat wins Pennsylvania, there's going to be a stolen election. I mean, like you don't want MAGA justices in Pennsylvania.
Look,
so please,
all you have to do is tell people, remember 2020? Remember what happened there? Remember that Pennsylvania was ground zero for all of those lawsuits, that 60-something lawsuits that were filed during the whole Stop the Steal bullshit. Pennsylvania was at the center of that because of how close the election was. And they tried to say that Pennsylvania changed the rules because of COVID and it wasn't fair. And then this and that and all the bullshit. Now, virtually everything got thrown out. But if you had a Trumpy Pennsylvania State Supreme Court, that could have been a whole different situation. So people need to understand why these local elections matter. These state and local elections freaking matter more. They always mattered, but they matter more now than ever because the Republicans have understood for years the controlling state and local legislatures can impact national politics and national policy and state by state. Look at, if you don't believe us, believe me, as someone who was part of those trainings and part of those strategies, the 50-state strategy didn't start with Obama, okay? That started with Republicans going after state legislatures, and decades of investment in these places is paying off now, because that's how they're able to have these supermajorities, get away with these gerrymandering bullshit place things, and all the other things that they're doing. The Secretary of State in Florida, I was happy with that result, but a lot of people were not in the 2000 election when you had a loyalist as the Secretary of State in Florida. So these things matter now, especially with the law, because the judicial branch is like the only bulwark we have left.
So did you guys see Michelle Goldberg's column in the New York Times? And anybody in the chat, did you guys?
No, but I love her. I love her.
Okay. She's so good.
She's so smart.
Yeah, she's so good. So
I enjoy when I'm on MSNBC with her. She's really
smart. Yeah, she's so smart.
I want to talk about it, not because it's relevant if you read it or not. You don't have to read it, although I will drop it in the chat right now for those who want to read it, because I think it's important. But basically, she went up to Maine to check out Graham Plattner. And Graham Plattner is a former Marine. He's an oyster farmer. He was bringing out massive crowds, really energizing the Democratic Party. And then it turned out that he had said some really bad things on Reddit. And then it turned out that he had a SS tattoo on his chest, like literally all over his chest.
But he didn't know, Julie. Come on. Stop being such a purity tester.
I know,
he didn't
right?
know what was, he didn't know it was an SS.
He didn't know they were
Jason
Nazi
tattoo for the
symbols. I mean, like,
18
come
years
on.
it was there. Come on.
But here's the thing. So she was like, I thought this race was blown. Like, I thought this race was over for all the reasons that we're talking about. And then it turned out that he's imposing, my favorite, that he's imposing NDAs on women who used to work for him, and basically saying you can get, it turns out kind of implying that she could get severance if she signed an NDA. That is against Maine law. I know every NDA law in the nation, and that particular thing is against NDA law. So, I mean, Maine law. So listen, like, she thought that he was dead, and he's running against Janet Mills, who's like in her 70s, is the governor of Maine, and that's who the establishment wants.
But that's because she wasn't originally going to run. And then they clearly, somebody did some oppo on this guy, not his own campaign, which is malpractice.
Yeah, again, like
so
you need to.
And they were like, "Oh shit, this guy's gonna crash and burn. We're gonna have to prop up Janet Mills, the 70-year-old that's doing a great job as governor, but like, come on." And then that's how she showed up. So probably her people discovered these things with this guy, and that's why you should do oppo research for your own campaign first before you start it.
Yeah. So here's the deal. She basically said that she was thinking exactly what we were all saying. And then she goes up to Maine and she goes to his rallies. And she said that she's never seen that kind of energy since Barack Obama.
Jesus Christ.
And that there are people up there who are like, we don't give a rat's ass because the establishment has completely fucked us. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah.
And therefore, this guy speaks our language. And apparently he's super charismatic. He's able to energize the base. And not just the base, but he's able to talk the talk. Basically, she was comparing.
What are we going to do during a general? Just try to out Nazi each other? That's
basically
so crazy.
That's basically the whole thing, right? So the whole thing was people don't care, and she was making the analogy to Trump.
Dangerous place to be.
Right. She was making the analogy to Trump, which I think is like, we have to talk about this because I think it's really important. That back, Tara, you could speak to this better than anybody, that Republicans were sick of the establishment. They were sick of losing to Obama. They were sick of just having their asses handed to them all the time by Democrats. And they said the establishment is letting us down. And the first thing they did was have a scalp with Eric Cantor.
Yeah, it was this is what the Tea Party was about.
Right. That was the canary in the coal mine. Right. And then the Tea Party basically morphed into MAGA. And this guy, Graham Plattner, is, she's making the Obama analogy, which I guess the energy is similar, but I think the better analogy is Trump, that people are like, we don't give a shit about his personal problems, including the Nazi skull. What we care about is this guy is really good at sticking it to the establishment, and he's creating energy, and we need that kind of energy or we're going to lose. And
I have very strong thoughts about this.
Well, share them. I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear.
I have very strong thoughts about this because she's not the only one who has done this. Like so somebody else, another political reporter did a similar kind of deep dive, went up there and said, all right, let's see what the hell's actually going on with this guy up there, and came back with a similar observation. And this goes back to the argument that I had on Don Lemon's show 2 weeks ago, or a week, maybe it was last week. Jesus, I don't know. It feels like a month ago, but I think it was last week, about this, when Plattner was really on the hot seat and his apologies weren't really great. And then his staffers, his campaign was kind of in a lot of turmoil, and his original campaign manager resigned. And that's the one you're saying that he was trying to foist an NDA on. And she was like, you guys cannot vote for this man. He is there. It's way worse than this. Like, believe me what I'm telling you.
Believe women who work on your campaigns and staff.
I know.
We all know this here, but I'm like,
yeah,
anyway, right.
Sorry.
So, and it's never a good thing. Okay. When your campaign is forcing people to sign NDAs after a scandal comes out. So what are you hiding? Why are you trying to silence people? That should be a super duper red flag, and people should care. But when I was arguing with Don about this, because Don was on the other side, I think he was playing contrarian. I love my friend, so we can argue and still love each other. It's fine. But he was saying basically what a lot of other people were saying. He's not establishment. He's new blood. Fuck these purity tests. You want to win or not? And I was making the argument that this is a primary. It's not an either or. At this point, there's time to not have to pick either him or Susan Collins, right? Like, there's time here, and people should stop accepting this kind of bullshit. Where is the line? So a Nazi tattoo and all the awful things that he has said is not a line for people. It needs to be. You can't just be like, I'm anti-establishment for the sake of being anti-establishment, and then you get a Fetterman, or you get like, people in office once they get there who are completely incompetent. We already have incompetent people running things. So you want this guy whose judgment is awful? Listen, I'm all for redemption. We all should be. And if he had come out proactively and said, look, I had some sketchy things in my past. I was in a different place. I've evolved. There was this, there was that. I was here. I came back from combat. Like, if he was forthright about all of the shit that we're finding out because he got caught, then maybe I'd have a little more compassion and be like, okay, well, you know what? At least people change. And he put it out there. But the only reason why he's doing this now is because he got caught. And I used the analogy of a husband who got caught screwing his mistress and got her pregnant. And then, oh my God, the wife finds out. Now he's found Jesus. He's so sorry. He loves his family. I'm sorry I ruined everything, but give me another chance. I'm a changed man. Fuck off. You got caught. That's why you're sorry. So this is the same situation. And Michael Fanone, who is a friend, and I love him, he came on that conversation, and he was of the mindset, hey, this guy looks and sounds like me. He speaks to people like me. I'm not the same person I was a few years ago. Let the people of Maine decide. And I'm like, I get that, but at what cost?
At what cost?
Not become what we despise. So we're not saying that Democrats should now. When we say fight harder and be tougher, we mean within the rules. Like, don't become what you despise. There is
there's a difference between, because we say, and others say, play the game you're in, right? But play the game you're in does not mean also do things that they do in that. Like, there's people in our chat right now that are, I don't know if you're Plattner stands or what it is, defending him. Come on, it was just a skull. Come on, MAGA's bad. Like, let's focus on the real problems. And I'm like, this is the real problem: is a white man going to Maine who is cosplaying as a working class person who grew up incredibly wealthy. You know who else?
You said he went to some private school, right? Boarding school.
He went to Hotchkiss. I know people who have gone to Hotchkiss. I have a friend who taught at Hotchkiss. It is for the upper crust of wealth. It is a prep school in Connecticut. That is where he went to school as a child, as a teenager growing up. So for him to come up and try to then cosplay as this working class person, you know who else did this? Was John Fetterman. John Fetterman has never had a real job in his entire life. He grew up on a trust fund. His parents financially supported him while he was running a campaign.
Didn't he go to Harvard?
I don't. I have no idea.
He did, I think, for like grad school or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
There's
like,
nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying it's
no. It's just, but again, like, I mean, never had a real job and had the family support financially to run for office over and over and over and over again his whole life, to then eventually become lieutenant governor and then senator from Pennsylvania. And again, he looks the part, he talks the part. You know, he wears his gym shorts or whatever it is. And it was like, ha ha ha. But, you know, and I remember being someone who liked Connor Lamb because I was like, why are people listening to this guy?
Yep.
When somebody tells you one thing, but their past is telling you something else. And I'm not saying their past and like they made a mistake, don't hold it against them forever. I'm talking about real fundamental parts of their past. Okay. Yeah. When you have to look at it and be like, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So I don't understand where our inability to kind of see things for as they are instead of just being gaslit into oblivion. And as Connor Lamb people, you know, I wasn't like, you know, the biggest fan, but I was like, if I could have voted, that's who I would have voted for. And I just remember being verbally clobbered by progressives being like, how dare you? He's not the choice. He's not this.
Right.
And I'm just like,
he's too establishment because he was sane and a moderate and he was a pro-gun Democrat who was a military guy. Like that is the type of candidate you want in the state of Pennsylvania.
Right.
Like
Connor Lamb was the better choice.
Right. He would have won. The fact
he
would
have won. He would have won.
Yeah, so close with Oz. Could you imagine Connor Lamb against Oz? He would have won by double digits.
Yep.
But Fetterman literally had a stroke and was not mentally or physically capable of doing the job. And Democrats and other people had to turn people, you know, into pretzels to say, listen, you got to choose him.
And he had to literally be dragged across the finish line by by other Democrats
about right. They totally misrepresented how incapacitated Fetterman was.
Right.
But it was better than Oz, right? Okay.
Well, anything could have. I mean, look at what's happening now with public health and everything. And not to mention again, his past of like doing experiments on puppies that killed puppies. We made an ad about that at the last place.
Yep.
Mastriano, who was running for governor in Pennsylvania against Josh Shapiro, had some very Nazi-ish white supremacist things. We made an ad about that and the Tree of Life Synagogue and his ties to Gab, which was like a white nationalist social media platform. It's just it's so crazy. I just I can't. I feel like I'm.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Just to put a point on the Fetterman thing and how we don't want to end up like that again.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see?
Sure did.
Fucking photograph with Lara Trump.
No, he did an interview. No, he did an interview with Lara Trump on Fox. It's more than that, Tara. It's not just a photograph. He did a whole interview with Lara Trump.
I thought they like had dinner or something.
No,
you know what I mean? That's where my brain went when I saw the photo.
No, but listen, I think we have to put this in the context of what else is happening this week on the Nazi front, which is that I mean, like the fact that we have to do this.
Like I'm on the Nazi beat. Like, do you know what I mean?
You know, like I'm throwing a flag on the play because after we finish the Nick Fuentes conversation, we are going to lighten this up and end the show talking about Halloween because people were asking questions. We got to lighten it up on a Saturday.
Yeah. Well, let me
all this Nazi
agree.
Stuff. So we're going to talk Halloween.
I'd also love to make fun of JD Vance, but that's
make fun of the JD Vance, Erica Kirk stuff.
So,
I wrote all that in. So
all I'm going to say is in the same week that Tucker Carlson platformed Nick Fuentes and brought him into the MAGA tent officially. Nick Fuentes, who's literally espousing Nazi ideology. Mm-hmm. I think it's really important to remember that there are Nazis and there are anti-Nazis, and the Republicans call those people Antifa. I call those people who don't want to be Nazis. So if we want to talk about that, and if we want to make it clear to people that we don't support that kind of behavior, perhaps we shouldn't be behind the guy that if he lifted a shirt, which he apparently has in many pictures, has a fucking Nazi skull. Sorry, Dad, but I think you probably would curse through that one too. So I just want to be clear here. We're anti-Nazi. We don't bring Nazis into our party. Period. Now let's talk about Erica Kirk. And
1 second. I just saw somebody in the chat say comparing Nick Fuentes and Plattner isn't fair. Let me explain why it is fair. because
That's what's gonna happen, friends.
we cannot go after the people on the right who are legit espousing Nazi ideology, and they're out there saying Jews will not replace us, and
Yep.
like the Groypers and those people that Nick Fuentes is a part of that are marching through the city streets of Indianapolis and other places with their Nazi everything, and then have a candidate who on our side who has literally had a Nazi tattoo on his chest on top of everything
for
else
almost 20 years.
for almost 20 years, and wants people to believe that at no point did he ever know what that meant. That is bullshit. I'm sorry if you believe that. That says a little bit more about you wanting to rationalize other things, because he's a regular guy and he looks and sounds like me. And maybe I had some Nazi predilections a couple 20 years ago. So what? Or whatever the fuck. Okay. Or maybe you think that women should be blamed for sexual assault in the military. Or maybe you were like, well, she was wearing that and she got drunk and was given the vibe. So, it happens. Maybe you are okay with that kind of stuff, or hang out with people who are okay with that kind of stuff. Or maybe you have a little racism streak in there and like, well, Black people are cheap and don't tip. I've heard that all the time. And so, I get it. I understand what he's talking about. I mean, maybe these are things that you have been okay with in your life. We are, I would say to you, the same I would say to Plattner is do better. And I would hope that today you don't feel like that anymore. And you have decided that you're going to be a better person. That doesn't mean that you get to be a senator in the United States. Go and run for city council. Go run for the Parks and Recreation fucking commissioner.
That's it, Tara. That's it.
Doesn't have to require making really big decisions about really big things, because that tells me that your judgment isn't great and you're not competent in that position. Okay. Yeah. You want to go be an oyster farmer and go run for the coastal commission or whatever the fuck happens in Maine? Go for that. But not the United States Senate. We are in this position now, not because we have too many establishment people. We're in this position because we have people who have compromised their integrity, and the people who actually do have the competence to do the job are too fucking cowardly to stand up and do the right thing. So we don't need people like that, because this guy's compromised. Okay, whether you like
and if the NDAs too aren't telling us like what the people who have worked for him being like, it is so much worse, guys, you have no idea, and everyone's like, well, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you something.
I just wanted to clear that up.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
You really need to think about your own life and why you're okay with this. Why are you okay with this? You shouldn't be. You shouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, just this PBS documentary, Nazi Town, USA, is, I think, right? It's about Yaphank, New York. It's on Long Island. There was an entire town that like had a swastika garden. And it's like, it's crazy. It's nuts.
They were talking about the town in Pennsylvania. There's a whole town. I think it's
that too. I don't know. There was a lot of them.
There's a town in Pennsylvania that has a whole Nazi thing going on there. I was like, Pennsylvania? I found this out during the 2020 campaign. There was a whole thing on Washington Post about it. I was like, I think I sent that to you, Michelle. I was like, what the fuck?
These people are freaks.
So it's there.
They're freaks that need to go underground, like JD Vance. Also a freak. Also a freak.
As we segue.
Michelle and I have a little bit of a different view on this whole JD Vance thing.
Yes, we do. It's very different.
Yeah.
And I think probably Tara and I are a little more aligned on this.
I'm sure you are.
Oh, that Erica Kirk and that JD Vance can't wait to offload his ethnic brown wife because MAGA doesn't like her and he doesn't like her. And so why would he want to keep that ethnic brown wife and her ethnic family that has a different culture and speaks a different language? And he understands that you don't want to live next to people like that. Why would you want neighbors that have 5 generations of families living next door and speak a different language than you? I'm sorry, like your in-laws telling on yourself. But then when I can have the blonde who looks like the perfect wife of what you're espousing, who is grieving, why wouldn't they? I mean, JD Vance legit puts his wife down all the time.
All the time.
Oh my God.
I agree. Everything.
Foundation.
Everything
went after her religion this week. Okay. Yep. You knew that she wasn't a Christian when you married her. And just so people understand, they were going to get separated before he was tapped for VP. They have not been happy for a while, but she's not a victim. She chose to stay because she wanted to be second lady. So you get what you asked for, sweetheart. Sorry.
No.
When he replaces you for the blonde,
I'm gonna play the Christian video. I'm gonna play the Christian video.
Not grew up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family, but not a particularly religious family in either direction. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her, and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love.
Yeah, so and this is what he said months ago on the Megyn Kelly show. Just watch
my wife so much. I love her because she's who she is. Obviously, she's not a white person, and we've been attacked by some white supremacists over that. But I love Usha. She's such a good mom. Look, I
love my wife for who she is. She's obviously not a white person, but she is such a good mom.
All right. Can I just say this as somebody who is in a mixed marriage religiously and who does go to church with her husband all the time, not because I expect to be inspired by the gospel, not because I'm looking to convert, and more importantly, not because my husband is looking to convert me. I go with my husband because it is a place that makes him happy is not the word. I think it gives him peace, and it gives him a sense of grounding that he's had his whole life. Spiritual fulfillment. Very good way to put it. And that makes me happy. And I go with him because I like to see my husband spiritually fulfilled, as Tara says. And frankly, I get something out of it for myself, not because I believe in Jesus Christ and the gospel. To the people in the chat who are offended by that, I'm sorry. I grew up Jewish and I will die Jewish. But I will also say that if my husband ever stood up in front of 10,000 people while I am sitting in the front row and effectively said that, hey, she's got free will, but you know what? I believe in the gospel, and P.S., she's going to burn in hell. That's her choice. That's her free will. Whoops, sorry. That would be the last conversation I would have with I mean, it is so humiliating.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Julie, they had a traditional Indian wedding.
Okay.
Like he was in the whole beautiful, like, you know,
with the sari and the whole thing. And yeah, it's I don't know what it is for men.
He was all about it back when he was a completely different person than he is today.
Yeah.
And why I'm on with Team Michelle with this one, that he will become a chameleon again and drop her.
I'm not disagreeing with all of that. I'm just, Michelle and I disagreed. Michelle thinks they're banging already. And I
don't know that he would be physically able to. I mean, I don't know that he's attracted to any woman. I don't know. It doesn't seem to me in my radar that he is. This feels like a business transaction. And again, JD Vance has done this his entire life. He has changed who he is. He has changed his name like 4 times, his legal name. If you look at his name in his yearbook, it's not JD Vance. It's like James Bauman or something like that. And so and he will do it again. Look what he's done with Peter Thiel. Look the way that even just physically he looks different. What he had to do to chameleon himself to sell his book and get on Oprah and sell his book, Hillbilly Elegy, to all the white liberals in America bought his book, and then he changed face again, and he's like, I'm a never Trump guy and whatever. It's like, oh, but Trump could help me be rich and powerful. I love Trump, and so. He said this too I think this was just a couple months ago, humiliating his wife,
here's
his wife.
It's really simple here. And I have to say, you know, I'm thrilled, of course, to have everybody here, thrilled to have Paul hosting us, but I'm especially thrilled to have my lovely wife here behind me. And I think she's doing a great job as Second Lady of the United States, and I'm so proud to have her back by my side. And here's the thing, because the cameras are all on, anything that I say, no matter how crazy, Usha has to smile and laugh and celebrate it. So I'm going to be good, though, honey. I'm going to keep to the script here. But I think that what we're really after here, and you see so many people attacking the president.
Murder in your sleep.
And wait a second. He also said, I didn't send you this link, Michelle, but at that
I just got
point you say thing, I don't know if you can load it in, but I'll just say it, okay? This is what he
Yeah.
said. If you ask the question, what is the exact right number of immigrants for the United States to let in? It is just very specific on the context. If you go back to the 1920s, the United States passed an Immigration Reform Act, which PS was supported by the Ku Klux Klan, JD Vance, and that effectively cut down immigration to close to zero for 40 years in this country. What is the exact number of immigrants in America should accept in the future? Right now, the answer is far less than we've been accepting. We've got to become a common community again. You can't do that when you have such high numbers of immigration, which is one of the reasons why we have the immigration policy we do. Okay, if I am Usha's parents who came here from Uttar Pradesh and built an incredible life for themselves and their 2 daughters, and who have contributed to this country by becoming incredibly successful. I think the mom is like, the dad's like a nuclear physicist. The mom's like a microbiologist. Like they are teaching.
The grandma, she's not worth her career and what she accomplished. Usha's mother. Remember, JD Vance also insulted her as being all she's good for as being a caretaker of his little brats.
Yes.
Okay, which is, and Usha is incredibly accomplished. She was a Supreme Court clerk, Yale Law School graduate. She clerked for Supreme Court justices. Now it was Kavanaugh and I think Gorsuch, right? Definitely Kavanaugh, but still, Kavanaugh. It doesn't matter. You know how hard that is being a Supreme Court clerk. That is like really, really, really something to be proud of an accomplishment. And so she's not a dumb woman. She doesn't need this fucker, and yet she has chosen this path. So
but listen, if I'm like watching that, your own wife wouldn't be here under your stupid immigration policy.
Correct. Neither would Trump's kids. I mean, honestly, I mean, they're all like
they got into a very different back door, which could have a whole separate show about.
Right. But still, I mean, and his wife's been here for 30 years, and she's whatever.
Was she born here?
Who? Usha was, yeah.
So Usha's first generation, right?
Sorry, I meant Melania. I meant Melania being here for 30 years.
Melania got here. So serious.
Please, we already know what I say. What do I say, Michelle? That bitch has some nerve having an attitude about anything. She's milking goats in Slovenia, and instead she has the nerve to have an attitude.
That's my favorite.
First lady. Fuck her.
But I will say that if I am Usha's parents, I'm having intervention with Usha. Because you don't get to sit there and have your husband humiliate you in front of 10,000 people as some other grieving widow is running her hands through your husband's hair in front of you.
Please show it. As married women, okay? We know.
That hand in the hair.
Where's the angle where she's actually, I don't know if you can see it from that angle. It's literally.
Yeah, do we have the other angle?
It's literally here.
Profile where her hair.
Well, what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the video, okay? And I'm going to load in that other picture. So we'll watch the video of her, okay? Because she's like.
Is this where she introduces him and compares him to her husband?
Yeah. And there is something so psychotic happening in her face.
Well, that's every day, but yeah.
Well, right, yeah.
I am tremendously blessed and honored tonight to be able to introduce to you a very, very dear friend and his wife. They are incredible. And I see no one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight, because he understands the fight that we're up against, and he can articulate that in a way that transcends race, that transcends demographic backgrounds. He's an amazing man. So please help me welcome to the stage Vice President JD Vance.
I am honored to introduce a friend of mine, somebody that I have just been so thrilled to see ascend American politics. His story is uniquely American. Growing up in poverty, difficult circumstances, serving his country honorably and heroically in the United States Marine Corps, being an America First champion in Congress, and somebody who I know will bring this vision to make America great again. Join me in welcoming J.D. Vance, everybody.
Here we go. Oh, God. Ugh. Hand in that hair.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. There it is. No, well, there's
Usha,
another
you
one.
and David.
Yeah.
Oh, is there another one? I'm missing
Yeah,
it.
there's one where her hand, the
hand is literally
actually in his
Yeah, I
hand.
got it here somewhere.
It's not like this. It's like this. It's like
Yeah.
literally inside
Yeah.
the hair.
Like, I
Okay,
said to
listen.
Joe last night, I was like, if somebody did that to you in front of me, saying the things that he's saying, putting down my like that bitch, let me tell you.
Yeah, it would be on the ground.
I find you. I find
Yeah,
you. I
no.
find you. Yeah.
First of all, my husband would never allow another bitch to hug him like that. Like never. Like never. Okay. Like when I showed that to Marcel, he was like, oh no. He was like, no.
This was the poster for the event, by the way. This was the poster for the event.
Listen, you're telling me that they both aren't putting Vance 2028 around that and envisioning that. This is all about, she wants to be the first lady of the
Serena
United
Waterford
States.
on crack.
Yes. That. No, sorry. I just have to say that the interwebs
Trying to find a picture.
gone off on this, and it has been tremendous. One of my favorite
it's been great.
influencers, what's her name? It's like Lisa something comedy. She's the one who does the Caroline Levitt parodies.
Oh, yeah. She's great.
So she just did she just did a Girl Is Mine parody with Usha versus Erica. Oh, the boy is mine. The boy is mine. That song by Monica and Brandy.
Yeah.
Over the same dude. Oh my God, it's hysterical. I mean, listen, women know, we know whether it's happened already. Yeah, I don't know.
There it is.
There happened before. There it is. Come on. His hand is on her, almost on her ass, in her skin tight pleather pants, in your hair.
Right.
Like
That's
that.
the other thing. I'm like,
listen, my whole thing, and I said this yesterday, I'm not going to criticize her, right? Everybody mourns differently. I don't know what kind of tranquilizer she's on. Michelle said that she's not.
I don't think she is. She said she's not. She said, I'm not. She goes, everybody wants to give me things to help me, like drugs and medications, but I want to feel everything I'm feeling. And so I refuse. That's what she said.
So that's okay, fine. I don't believe it for 1 second because that is deeply, deeply tranquilized, but okay.
She does.
Like,
but even still.
But also go back and watch her old videos before all this happened. And she's exactly the
maybe
same.
she was tranquilized then too. I would be if I were.
Maybe.
I mean,
but I would just say this. Maybe she is inspired by the Lord and the Spirit has entered her, and that's why she speaks this way. I have no clue, and I'm not going to judge her. Her husband got murdered in front of her, and whatever. J.D. Vance, however, is the biggest piece of shit for doing what he's doing to his wife. Like, that's what I want to focus on here. It's not her. It's him.
Well, but it is her though, because she's all part of this. That's the thing. She's known Donald Trump. She was doing the Donald Trump pageants. She's been a part of this world for a long ass time. And I'm going to play this again too. We watched this the other day. This is Erica Kirk walking onto the stage with pyrotechnics to memorialize her husband and then choreographed her movements to the music. Yeah.
beauty queen before this, wasn't she? She's all about the pomp and circumstance. Fuck her.
Listen, I was a pageant girl and I was a theater girl, and everything about this is screaming at me. All of it. All of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't a particularly good pageant girl, but I did it. And I still know the tricks.
Was she a particularly good pageant girl? Did she win anything?
What happened?
Was she a particularly
Miss
good?
Arizona?
Yeah, she was like a Miss Arizona. She was Miss Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And she, I think she was like runner-up in a different pageant that the Lindsay Hannigan, whatever her name is, Halligan, Miss Hannigan, Halligan, that she was in too. And she was part of that whole world. Miss USA, not Miss America, just to be very clear.
Right. There's
Miss USA was kind of like the other one. You didn't have to have a talent at Miss USA. So just saying.
That's right. That's the main difference.
No talent. Yeah, you just had to be kind of hot. But anyways, but yeah.
I find the whole pyro thing very strange. The whole pyrotechnics, like
very evangelical.
It's mega church.
It's mega church.
Yeah.
It's very, as someone who used to be in the evangelical space, it's that is not abnormal, unfortunately.
And
and
just sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying it's part of the whole performance of the mega church thing that just masks a lot of the underhanded, terrible things that are going on that we often find out. It's all performance, and the Bible really says that you shouldn't be about performance. It's supposed to be about relationship, but that they're going to have to answer for that one day.
I'm sure some of it too, like the excitement, like the chemical reaction that happens in people's bodies, like when they're experiencing things like this. I think there's so much of like a psychological, scientific reasoning too that people become attached to this stuff, and like how cults happen, and it's like it's all this pomp and circumstance. It's all like the rush, the adrenaline that you get from this stuff. And I just want to say that after he hugged Erica Kirk the way that he did, he then walked on stage. And now Julie said this already, but I think it's important to actually hear him say it too, because his wife is sitting there. He hugs the widow, and then he says all this.
What is the exact right number of immigrants for the United States to let in? It is just very specific on the context. If you go back to the 1920s, the United States passed an Immigration Reform Act that effectively cut down immigration to close to zero for 40 years in this country. And what happened over those 40 years? The many people who had come from many different foreign countries and different foreign cultures, they assimilated into American culture. And there was an expectation that they would assimilate into American culture. I think we have two problems in our immigration system today. And my guess is you're probably a slightly more leftist political persuasion, liberal political persuasion, maybe not. But here's the thing. I remember back in my establishment GOP days, when I was still very early getting involved in Republican politics, I remember a conservative think tank person who told me that one of the reasons why immigration was really good is that if you had enough diversity in a country, people would mistrust each other and they wouldn't join labor unions. Okay? So when I see a lot of left-wing people who theoretically support organized labor saying we need to flood the country with a limitless number of immigrants, they're unwilling to set any limitations on it. My response to that is you are destroying the very social trust on which American freedom and prosperity was built.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Go F yourself. I hate you.
Can I just say something? Because JT Vance is a Catholic. And he may be
newly Catholic, but yes.
Newly Catholic, but he is a Catholic. He may be surprised to hear that the reason that immigration law was passed in the 1920s was to prevent, and by the Ku Klux Klan. So in 1926, Hiram Evans, who was the imperial wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, said the following, okay? Now, this is as DHS is putting out memes saying America for Americans. This is what Hiram Evans said.
The Department of Labor.
And the Department of Labor.
White people working in jobs and families and stuff. All white people.
Their thing now is America for Americans. That is their slogan. In 1926, Hiram Evans, the imperial wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, said this: there are three great racial instincts, vital elements in both the historic and the present attempts to build an America which shall fulfill the aspirations and justify the heroism of the men who made the nation. These are the instincts of loyalty to the white race, to the traditions of America, and to the spirit of Protestantism, which has been an essential part of Americanism ever since the day of Roanoke and Plymouth Rock. They are condensed into the Klan slogan, native white Protestant supremacy. First in the Klansman mind is patriotism, America for Americans. My friends, that Immigration Act was passed to prevent not Black people from coming here because they were already here in chains. They came here a century earlier, 2 centuries earlier. Not to prevent the Chinese. That was happening in the 19th century. It was done to
Building the
prevent
railroads.
Catholics.
Yeah.
From
People don't
Ireland,
understand like the hatred for
Ireland,
Catholics
from
in this
Southern
country.
Europe, from Ireland, from Southern Europe, like Italy, and from Eastern
Yep.
Europe, Poland. All of those
100%.
countries were Catholic. So J.D. Vance, if you are sitting here espousing the 1920s as your example of what the fuck you want in this country, then pack up your shit and get out of here because you're not a Protestant. Go the fuck back to the Vatican or wherever you think Catholics hang out.
But Julie, it's not about that he's a real Catholic. That was a
It's
political
about Opus
decision
Dei.
of joining
course,
Opus
of
Dei
course,
Catholic. He
of
doesn't give
course.
a fuck. It's
But
about
where's the
political
mainstream
stuff.
media? Where is
But
the
you're right about that. The history.
And why
of
aren't they asking him about this?
Now
Why
they
aren't
ask
they
about
asking him?
Yes.
It was an anti-Catholic ploy. It was about Catholics. And let me tell you, I've told this story before, but in 2012, I was hanging out with Tucker Carlson in the green room of Fox News.
Your
For a
life is
very
so
long
crazy.
time. Tucker Carlson and I used to have crazy, great conversations. Like he's cuckoo, but we used to have these incredible conversations for hours on end. Because we used to be on the road. They used to pair us up at debates. We had these great, till like 3 a.m. sometimes, and you sit in the green room waiting to go on. And this particular conversation, Tucker Carlson said to me point blank, that this country had no crime until those people came here. And I said, who are those people? And he said, the Irish with their whiskey, and the Italians with their mafia, and the Poles with their vodka. And I said, you know what, Tucker? You sound like the Ku Klux Klan in the 1920s. And he said to me, you know what? There was no crime in this country until those people came here. So J.D.
Mr.
Vance.
Great Replacement Theory. He's the one who mainstreamed that and got himself kicked off Fox for it.
And now is making a fortune, even more than Fox, on the #1 YouTube channel in the country.
And on tour with Megyn Kelly. Because Megyn Kelly is now all up in this.
Yeah.
Also Catholic. Megyn is Catholic. Sean Hannity, Catholic. Bill O'Reilly, Catholic. J.D. Vance, Catholic. And you have J.D. Vance, right? J.D. Vance espousing immigration policy from the 1920s. And I want some goddamn reporter, because it's not going to be the 3 of us. They're not going to allow us next to him. Some reporter who is in a 100-mile radius of J.D. Vance to say, Mr. Vice President, when you sat there in front of your wife and you said that we need immigration policy from the 1920s, which was inspired by the Ku Klux fucking Klan, they wanted people like you out of here because you're Catholic. You answer, and I quote, you bow down to what they call a Roman dictator.
Yeah. Well, and listen, and my mom is Catholic, although no longer practicing. My grandmother was an Irish Catholic from Irish immigrants living in New York City. She married my grandfather, who is from Northern New York. He was not Catholic. It was like kind of not entirely acceptable, right? I mean, and again, my dad, not being Catholic, married my mom, who is Catholic. And at the time in the 70s, like, I don't think it was the biggest deal, but it was still kind of like, eh. And so the fact that they had me makes me feel great, because I'm like, I'm out here just, crushing norms here left and right. But I know this just from my family's history in that region. In very, very, very northern parts of this country, the Ku Klux Klan had a lot of recruitment because of the anti-Catholic sentiment that existed there. So it wasn't just a Southern thing, although yes, it was like the worst and terrible in the South.
Oh, there was Klan in South Jersey. There was Klan in South Jersey. Trust.
Oh, let me tell you something. Ku Klux Klan. Still, New Jersey had the highest number of Klansmen in the 90s. I don't know what it is today. I just
want to be clear. South Jersey.
South Jersey. Central Jersey, where I come from, but the real
South Jersey.
Yeah, south of 195, not Central Jersey.
Yeah. And listen, and Donald Trump's family has ties to the Klan as well. And like that stuff is very hard to break the cycle.
Right? It was questionable. So listen, as a biracial person here, You know what I mean? My mom is very white,
Right.
and well, the way she looks. Well, she's not a pink person now. My mom tans quite well because that's the Italian side. But like my grandparents, I mean, my grandfather, German, my great grandparents, German Jews, as I've mentioned
Yep.
before, we did not know this until he was 89, 88 years old. He just casually brought it up that his dad went to synagogue in Patterson. And we were like, on Saturdays, we were like, I'm sorry, what was that, Gramps? We had no idea.
Right.
And then it all started to make sense. But like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like if people, all of those people, my mom is worse because she procreated with someone who was not white.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly.
My father is from Guatemala, who's Afro-Latino from Guatemala.
And in the 70s, again,
came here, by the way, as political refugees in the 50s. So like, you know what I mean? Like these people are all like, we right here, the three of us, we represent America.
Yep.
We're the 20th century American story.
Yep.
My grandfather fought in World War II. Yours fought in wars, Michelle. Julie, you guys came from the Soviet Union.
My grandfather fought in World War II on the Eastern Front.
On the other side, exactly.
Yeah.
And your family was able to get out of that and make a life for themselves in the U.S. Like when I say, and then I swear to God, we're going to change the subject because we have to talk about Halloween. When I say that MAGA hates everything that makes America great, I mean that because they're talking about me. They're talking about you. They're talking about everyone that's not a white Christian nationalist that they hate. We, the diversity, the melting pot, the e pluribus unum part of this, out of many one, that's what makes America great. And I'm not going to let those bastards tell me that my family or yours or anybody else's who aren't white Christian nationalist Nazis are the problem. We're not the fucking problem. They are.
Exactly. And while people watch Game 7 tonight, I just want to reiterate, because this is something that I've been talking about baseball and immigration. Like, you know, America's pastime has been made great by the people who come here to play it. And I think that is something we all need to remember as well. And I think Tara went somewhere for a second. So just to bring it, just so we can laugh here for a second, because I'm sure we all saw that Trump has turned although it's not really that funny, it is kind of a little bit, he has turned the Lincoln bathroom into Mar-a-Lago. I told my husband, I was like, this looks like a Radisson.
Awful.
It's horrible. This is what the Lincoln bathroom used to look like. This is what it looks like now. It is disgusting. And he was saying that, oh, that's marble. And I did it in black and white polish. Was it statuary marble? This was very appropriate for the time of Abraham Lincoln. And in fact, could the marble be the marble that was originally there? It wasn't. And I'm guaranteeing you that's not marble, because he's a cheap ass. And there's a very famous story that Charlie Sheen tells on Graham Norton's show about the cubic zirconia cufflinks that he had, right? And like how he was like, oh, these are Tiffany or like Harry Winston or whatever they are. And that he had an appraiser look at them and that she recoiled at the look of them. She was like, that's cheap zirconia at best. Because this is what he does. He says that things are great.
Same
They're
thing
shit.
Gold. The gold, it's all gold plated. Like you could just scratch the surface and it's, you know, it's like he's
God bless Governor Newsom's.
Love it. Love the
Wow, the Queen has a new bathroom.
Love it. Who paid for that, by the way? Who paid for that? Despite the fact that it's awful and ugly, who fucking paid for that? We did. The tax dollars paid for that. While people can't afford food, this fucking guy's renovating the damn bathroom.
I don't think it's fake because he used taxpayer dollars to pay for it. So what does he care?
Well, because this is just, I think it's just in his nature. Honestly, I think it's just in his nature. And then he can be like, I saved all this money. But and on top of that, just into the Halloween thing, he went to a Halloween party last night at Mar-a-Lago.
Of course, it was Gatsby themed.
It was a Gatsby themed Halloween party. Gatsby was who? He's a literary character from Long Island who was living on the Gold Coast, who was in a corrupt,
Bobbed in the mouth.
Billionaire. And while everyone else around him suffered during the Depression. So I'm just saying, like, so it says, as the government shutdown enters its 5th week, Trump hosted a Gatsby-themed Halloween party in Mar-a-Lago. The White House released a spooky Capitol video while federal judges halted cuts to a major food aid program.
I mean, this is like the definition of let them eat cake on steroids. Little parties never hurt anybody. People are lining up at food banks around corners for miles.
And
again,
On
And
the stakes
yep.
on Thursday, I found a video from one of our supporters who posted it on Twitter that she had never seen anything like this in her little
Wow.
town of Spring Hill, Florida. Okay, it's north
Oh,
of
Spring
Tampa.
Hill. My grandma used to
Oh,
live there.
well, there
Oh,
you
that's fun.
go.
Anyways,
Well, in that
yeah.
little lovely town, the food bank line, people lined up in their cars, went on for a full minute of
Yep.
her videoing. She said, I have never in my life seen anything like this, not even during COVID. Okay.
Yep.
Because of people lining up because of the food programs being cut off. That is unacceptable, despicable, should never happen in America. Between that and our military families in their uniforms standing in food bank lines, which should never fucking happen in the richest country in the world, ever, 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 currently serving, not getting paid, or being deployed on bullshit deployments, which, by the way, they just extended the National Guard in Washington and other places until February. So that means that these guardsmen are going to be away from their families for the holidays for a fucking vanity project by Donald Trump, costing us millions and millions of dollars. How about that $1 million a day to pay the National Guard to pick up garbage in the 8th Ward that they could be feeding people? Like, stop it.
Hideous.
Well, Tara, you're overreacting because a little party never hurt anybody.
Yeah. Where are the ads? Oh my God, please.
Well, this is what I was thinking.
Fund us so we can make these ads.
This morning, Tara, I was thinking about this because I opened and I saw all the photos from Mar-a-Lago last night, right? And like he's all chummy and ha 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 ha. And all these rich people dining, right? It's kind of like that AI video that went viral on Twitter a few months ago, and then it's gone viral again now.
Incredible.
It's so good. And I think the reason the creator hadn't posted on YouTube is because there's like a music copyright issue or something, but whatever. But I was thinking, it's like, why, again, with the Democrats, this is what we were talking about earlier. It's so easy. I mean, it should be, you guys got money to do this. Putting the lines where the people are, in essentially the bread lines, the food pantry lines, side by side with Donald Trump at the Gatsby party and all of his friends in Mar-a-Lago. That is like, while you suffer, he's whatever the word, you know what I mean? Like he's the one who is he's surrounded by millionaire friends and donors.
That's what I said the other day. He has never met anybody like that. Because as I said,
he
was chauffeured to school in the back of the family Cadillac, and he looked out the window and he saw people in Queens, but he never spoke to them. And then as an adult, he was chauffeured in the back of a town car all around Manhattan, and he looked and saw people, but he never spoke to them. And today he's chauffeured in the back of the Beast, and he might look out the window if he even bothers, and he sees these people, but he's never talked to them. They are not real to him. They are imaginary. He has no concept of them. All they're good for is harvesting votes.
He calls them chumps. You know how I know this? Because I used to be friends with Kellyanne Conway, and I have been at her house. She lived 2 miles away from me when we lived in New Jersey, and I used to go to her home. And I've known Kellyanne since I was in college, before she completely went to the dark place. We literally used to sit and get pedicures together when she would hand me the Oppo book that Ted Cruz's PAC, who she worked for originally.
Yet again, the stories from these two.
Yes. Well, and she was like, how do we take him down? How do we take him down? It was in 2016. And one day we were sitting in her house drinking wine with her lovely mom and her aunt. Okay. And and George was there. He came in and she was telling stories about how she took Claudia. Yes, that Claudia, who is now quite something. She was only 10 years old at the time. And she was saying how in 2015, Trump was trying to recruit her to come work for him, trying to recruit her. And she used to live in a Trump building. They were very friendly. And she was like, no. Because she knew. George was like, you remember, he was a big lawyer in New York. He was on the condo board, and he was like, yeah, Donald Trump's reputation is terrible. He never pays his bills. The legal community hates him in New York. Like, he is the worst. True. So she told a story about how she took her daughter to one of the faith and family conferences. It's like one of the pre like presidential kind of customary places where like you test the waters to see if you're popular. It's kind of like the Iowa straw poll and other things in Republican circles. One of these faith and freedom fucking conferences or whatever in South Carolina or somewhere down the South. And she took Claudia, right? Because she would take Claudia. Claudia's whip smart, by the way, like her mom. I mean, Kellyanne's smart too. She's just an awful person with no soul anymore. But so she took Claudia. Trump was there because he was putting out the feelers before he announced. And he was very friendly to her and was like, oh, Kellyanne. And she's like, oh, yeah, I introduced Claudia to Mr. Trump and blah, blah, blah. This is before he was, now this is 2016 when she's telling the story, before she went to work with him, before he won the nomination. And she was like, and Claudia was like, you know, Mr. Trump or whatever. Okay. He goes, oh, Kellyanne, you want to hitch a ride back with us on the plane? And she was like, sure. She goes, I thought Claudia would have fun flying on Trump's plane or whatever. So we could hitch a ride back. And so, but she goes, he didn't expect, he made the offer, but not expecting them to say yes. He's that guy, right? Where it's like, oh, you want to come on the plane, little girl? You know, come hang out with us. And he didn't think they were going to say yes. So now he's stuck with them. And she's like, oh, okay. He's like, all right, well, I have to stop at my golf course first in Virginia. Is that okay? And they're like, sure, okay, whatever. So they get in the cars, the trucks, okay, to go to the airport after this event in down south somewhere. And he says to Claudia, look at these chumps. Look at these people. These are supporters of his early on. I don't know whether he paid them or not, because remember, he was paying people to show up at his rallies in the beginning.
Yeah, very right in the beginning.
Right, or they were there organically. But he literally turned to 10-year-old Claudia and said, look at these chumps. Look at these chumps out here cheering for me.
And Claudia told you that, or Kellyanne?
Claudia told the story, because while Kellyanne was talking about it, she called Claudia in. Claudia, come here. Tell that story about what happened when we flew on the plane with Mr. Trump. And 10-year-old Claudia said to me, yeah, you know, he was like making fun of all of his people that were supporting him. And I thought that she's like, that was kind of not nice.
And that's not the only, I mean, there's been like sprinkles of stories like this throughout the last 10 years.
But 10-year-old Claudia Conway told me she personally witnessed Donald Trump calling his own supporters fucking chumps. You don't, and this is the woman that went to go work for him, and not only worked for him in Kellyanne Conway, okay, stood by him when he said grab them by the pussy. And she brags about how she's the mother of 4 kids, and you know, she's got a daughter and blah blah blah. I think she has 2 daughters, or 1, I forget, but at least 1. And you don't walk away. What kind of hypocrite are you? You wonder why Claudia had all of those issues going on with her? Look at what she had to look at. From always a fucking hypocrite from top to bottom. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? And we see the fallout of that.
Poor kid.
So I am, you know.
Yeah, she's whip smart. And I hope that she has a wonderful and, you know, successful life ahead of her. I really do.
Me too. So,
you know, and I think, you know, and, you know, some people in the chat were talking about George. I just want to touch on this really quick, because people were like, you know, he's a part of this. He was, you know, the corrupt Supreme Court. Yes, 100%. He was around during the Monica Lewinsky thing. Like, right. I mean, like George Society. Right. George
ran in very similar circles in that part of Republican stuff. Yeah. I didn't know him. I knew Kellyanne, but yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's the thing is like, yes. And he knows that. And I think that he's one of those people, if we want to talk about people atoning their pasts, he's one of those people that is putting his money where his mouth is, and is actually saying, that's me then. This I've learned, I've evolved, and now I'm going to take all this money that I made and I'm going to throw it. He gave $1 million to Kamala Harris. He just gave $1 million. What was it, to something else? I forget.
That's his organization, Home of the Brave.
His PAC. But personally gave $1 million to Kamala Harris. So you know, is he a perfect person? No. Like, does what destruction. Right. When I think about sometimes, you know, the things that he's done, it like enrages me. A lot of the former Republicans that I know have done a lot of really terrible things in their past. But George is somebody who's taking his personal wealth and you know, and sacrificing quite a bit, I think, in the process of doing that.
Cost him his family.
Exactly. So
I just watch and see what that did to his daughter. You don't think that was part of the motivation for why he was so,
I'm sure.
Like,
so that's
against what was going on. It cost him his family.
Exactly. And so for that reason, I just want to say, like, you know, these are the people that we can look at and I think have grace for in a different way than when we look at somebody who has a Nazi tattoo on his chest and say, oops, and then he gets caught and then he's upset that he got caught. He's not upset that he did it. He hasn't spent the last 5-10 years trying to atone for even doing that. And you know what I mean? It's just, it's
different.
This is the difference. This is the difference. It's just one example.
Literally putting his money where his mouth is. And it's, we're glad for it, you know?
Exactly.
That's the right way to do it.
100%. So with that said, Yesterday was Halloween, and we just want to talk about that really quick. Tara, tell us what you did.
Okay, so and I sent you some pictures.
Yep,
I don't
I've
know
got
if
them. I'm
okay,
loading them
cool.
right now.
So we don't have kids. So what we do, everyone who follows me knows that we do holidays big, whether it's 4th of July, Christmas, Easter. We still do Easter eggs, and Halloween is not one that we do big, but we still, if we're here, I mean, my house is a fall wonderland. Because we decorate and it makes me happy, and it's one of the things that brings me peace and joy. It's a bright spot for me. So, but we look forward to the kids coming, and sometimes we don't get a lot of kids because we live kind of off of a main street.
Yeah.
But matter, we still go all out, and we usually do themes every year with our pumpkins. And every year, whatever theme we do has to have a musical accompaniment to it. So we started doing this a few years ago. I was not a big pumpkin carver with like elaborate things until I met my husband, and because he said, because I can't write my name straight, but he's an incredible
super
artist,
artsy talented.
Yeah, he's super artsy. And so he was like, let's try and carve some different pumpkins. Because mine would just be like, my mom and I would joke about it. My mom's the same way. Like, we can think creatively, but like doing it physically, forget it. So we do like the triangles with the teeth, and that was about where it went. But since my husband and I have been together, we have started this whole thing now where we do like these elaborate pumpkin carvings. And we've done Mary Poppins in the past. Like, usually when there's some kind of cultural thing going on, we've done arcade games, we've done Mandalorian, I did Stranger Things one year. Like, we've done it's crazy. Last year's pumpkins were, I think, our best yet, because my husband literally carved a Kamala Harris portrait.
Oh, I remember that. That was cool.
Remember this? With the comma. I posted it on Instagram, like what a difference a year makes, because
I saw that.
It was like the comma, her face, and La. He freaking did this. And I was like, and I'm looking at our pumpkins last year, and also I had my little tribute to Tiki passing. I had a little paw with wings with Tiki. I had a vote for her, check mark. I had a Harris 2024. Like, we were out of control last year. This year, it was a little bit more of a struggle, because I'm like, what's the big like theme this year for us? Because I can't do like a Nazi symbol with a thing through it, you know. I'm like, can't do that.
That's very hard. That could be misconstrued very quickly.
Right. I'm like, it needs to have music too. So my husband was like, you love Wicked? Wicked. I was like, yes. So not quite as elaborate as last year, but not too bad either. And plus, we have Rafi. And so we always do a cat thing. So we have Rafi. I have some Wicked things. My husband did Tron because he likes that Tron, which was actually a cool movie to watch. Wasn't as good as the other one, but fine. It was visually very stunning. But he did E.T. Did E.T. the finger, which is very cool.
Right.
And of course, I had to do a No Kings. So there's my Wicked. I carved those.
Those are very good. That's like really good.
It's not my best work, but it does the job. The one in the middle, if people are not familiar, Michelle, you probably know, that is the picture on the front of the original Wicked playbill, where it's it's Elphaba and Glinda. With the whisper. So that's the shadow. And then there's Elphaba with the hat there. So that came from the playbill.
Oh, I see it now.
Cover.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you have to kind of know what you're looking at to know what that is. And then, of course, Rafi on the left, and then the Wicked there. And so we put all of our pumpkins. There's the E.T. carving my husband
very
did.
Good.
Oh, I think I didn't send you the up close one, but I don't think I did, but it's like really cool. Even has the finger and everything. And then I did the No Kings, because of course we have to have some kind of message. We're that house. And we have No Kings, and we put we put straw, bales of straw, hay in our thing, and we put the pumpkins up there with solar lights and the whole thing. And yes, I had the soundtrack of Wicked playing on Alexa outside all evening last night. So anyone who came up to the door was showered with the soundtrack of Wicked, the movie, not the Broadway show, just because the movie part 2 is coming out soon. So
yeah,
and then Rafi, of course, he's always all up in it because he's the cutest thing ever. When we were carving our pumpkins, he was right up in it, just like Tiki used to be. And, Rafi didn't need an outfit because he's a black cat. So it's
that's a good point.
He doesn't need to get dressed up. He's living it. Just like Tiki didn't need an outfit. He had a permanent tuxedo. So yes, there is Rafi. And he's, Rafi's into the season. He likes to lay around on the on the fall decorations. So but yes, so there's Rafi. I don't even know where he is right now. He's probably snoozing on his back. So there I am with my candy thing, which is actually a black cat with green eyes. And I was dressed up as a Foxy 70s mama because I did a live with Don last night. Don Lemon was getting dressed. He ended up becoming Beyonce. But he did a get dressed with me for Halloween thing. So I got the email a couple hours before this, and they were like, hey, if you want to dress up, join us. So I said, okay, what do I have in my house? I have my blonde Afro puffs and my 70s stuff from when we did Marcel's birthday party a couple of years ago with the 70s theme. So I threw that on to kind of be in character. So I did my little 70s thing, and that's part of our display. And we only got like 10 kids this year, but that's okay. That's all right. They were still cute and we love them. And it was awesome. So
well,
you guys do it for yourselves as much as anybody else. You know what I mean? And that's and Julie, I know has to go take her kiddo to squash, but I just want to show really quick.
Did you guys go trick or treating yesterday?
Yes.
We did. I meant to. I can't even talk. I went to go meet Joe, my husband. He works in Columbus Circle. I went to go pick him up and then walked up. Because we don't have kids either. And so Halloween's usually nothing to me now that I don't go out in the village anymore.
Those were fun years. I used to do that too.
Yeah, so this is 69 Street. I didn't even know this existed.
Amazing.
So cool. Like for 2 blocks on 69th Street, it's like the whole neighborhood. I mean, I was in the West Side for like 2 years. I had no idea. I mean,
amazing.
Crazy. The Roman Empire.
I love New York.
A lot of little baby pumpkins. This was cool too. These people were like hanging off the roof.
Oh, this is like Spider-Man.
Is that a real person?
Yes.
Yes, it's real. We do it every year in 69th Street. These people repel
it's crazy.
Out of windows every time.
And they were playing the audio for like the old Batmans. It's like crash, bam, or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like Batman.
Amazing. So you guys,
it was just very intense in like a good way. So, anyways, that's what I did.
I'm very sad. I got to go, but I'm very sad because my son is in 8th grade.
I know.
Next year is high school,
yeah, like definitely next year he's gonna be too old.
I think this is the last time, and we have been trick or treating on 69th Street.
And he like went off with his friend, and we were like,
went off with his friend, which is also a little sad.
What did he dress as?
Because he's now too old to really bother. He like got some cheapo mask on Amazon that was like a light up mask and nothing. They were just there for the stash. They were just there for the candy. But like
never too old for Halloween.
I know, but next year, this is it for me. I think this year, and it's sad, and it's like. But everybody
when he goes to college and they do like the college Halloween stuff, it'll come back. He'll appreciate how adult Halloween.
Exactly. I did that for a bunch of years too. I know we all did here, but then it's like, oh God, I can't do that anymore.
Right. Like we're not going to Halloween. We're not
like
out
I'm
there
not hauling my ass home at 8 o'clock in the morning the next day in a Tinkerbell costume. We're not doing that anymore. You know what I mean? I may or may not have done that.
Oh, I had really great costumes when I was single. Yeah, in the village.
Well, listen, down in the Florida Keys, they have something called Fantasy Fest, which is always the weekend before Halloween. Sometimes it falls on Halloween. Fantasy Fest, for anyone who's ever been to Key West, knows it's sort of like mini Mardi Gras, but the Key West version. And Key West is its own special place and culture. It is wild there. And I used to do that every year when we had our house in the Florida Keys. And I'm just grateful that the years that I would do Fantasy Fest and my friends would do a float, that there weren't cell phones. We didn't have the cell phone recordings like this now. And there may or may not be a video of something else out there on a digital camera of me dancing on a float in a rather risque costume.
Listen,
and may or may not have been a wardrobe malfunction and quickly that is living in lore. I don't remember this, but I
this
hear
is what I'm saying.
That may have happened.
Exactly.
So anyway,
well, and also just As my parents watch this, so they're watching right now. So I just want to be very clear. I was not like walk of shaming home in the Tinkerbell costume. I fell asleep at my friend's house and I remember waking up and like she had a bunch of other friends who were all dressed up as bananas and like they were all laying around me. And so I was woke up and my wig is like off my face and there's bananas.
I had a costume
life, live life. That's what our 20s are for.
I think I was like 25 or something.
I had a costume.
Good times.
When I lived in the village. I had a costume, and I got to go. I had a costume in the village when I lived in the village one day. That was literally walk of shame, girl. That was my costume.
Oh my gosh!
Like half tucked in, tucked out, the mascara running. Like it was actually a great
costume. What? Come to think of it, I did a costume, and we're really gonna go. I promise, Julie. It was a Girls Gone Wild. And like my tank top was up here and I had like a nude thing underneath of it and it had censored with like a Von Dutch hat
outfit on. I had a cop outfit on that says across the tank top here said busted.
Oh my God. All right. I have to go.
Yep. So don't throw out your pumpkins, everybody. Give them to the deer. It's good for them. And everyone now. Yes, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy marathon day for anybody who's running the New York City Marathon in New York City tomorrow. I'll be there. I'll be rooting for all of you, handing out bananas. So everybody, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We are so grateful for you. And this was a great conversation. It was really wonderful. So happy.
I won't see you guys. I'm going to be gone for Wednesday and Saturday next week. I'm going overseas for a really cool gift and concert. I'm a big Jamiroquai fan. My husband and I are like Jamiroquai super fans. Yes, it's a deep cut for Americans, but we are super uber fans. So we're going to see them kick off their tour overseas, courtesy of a very, very close friend of ours who has a place in Barcelona. So I won't be here. So that's why if people are wondering, that's where I'll be.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. I'm very generous and wonderful friend. Yeah. Jamiroquai, that is a deep cut, like 90s.
Oh,
my sister's your age, and she had all the CDs. I remember it was all the rage. So, Tara, you have a very safe trip. Have a wonderful time. Julie, have fun at squash. I'm going to go clean up the puke that my cat just did all over our sofa. So that's how I'm spending my Saturday. And everyone have a safe and wonderful weekend. We'll see you all next week.
Everybody.
Bye.